Yo boys, I know there are some of y'all out there on mobile that are trying to actively get better at the game, and I am here to help. As a self-acclaimed Fortnite Mobile Pro, I wanted to give y'all the tips and method, 4-step method to be specific, in order to improve at the game. Without further ado, let's get into step 1, which is to record and VOD review deaths. Pause it right here. Actually, let's go back to this one. If you are able to record to where it doesn't impact your ability to perform at a good level, do so. Many players try to come up with reasoning for their deaths on the spot, which can only help so much. Like, you might say, oh, I died because of this, but are you going to retain that information? It has to do with holding on to remembering why you died and trying to actually improve on that, which can be hard if you're queuing in game after game after game. With recording stuff, you can go back after your session and really go deep and dive deep into what over the many matches you've been doing wrong versus just one. Basically, it gives you more of a scope, more of a vision to see your issues. Since VODing isn't possible through late replays like PC, unfortunately, you have to record your gameplay to make this possible, which I understand can be a crutch for some devices. To save storage or improve game performance, you can record in lower quality, say 480p or 30 FPS instead of the standard 60 FPS 720p. As long as you can see and comprehend what's happening in game, you are fine. So what recorder should you use? I've heard the good things about Glip and Mobison, though I personally use AZ Recorder for my own gameplay. All three will probably work well enough to get the job done to improve. Now, what you want to look for in these VOD reviews is the second step. Find a overall concept that seems to consistently lose you fights. So let's pretend I'm looking at this ranked session from recent. I'm going to skip to where the part where I get into a fight and die. So let's say this. What would I call my issue right here? Right there, I didn't block my angles. So that is the reason I died, because he got a 99 tag on me. If I had not let him get that side shot, probably wouldn't happen. Let's go to another game. How do I die here? I'm just watching it back. This one is once again not taking a proper peek, not trying to do a right hand peek. So, out of those two deaths, I've noticed a pattern. It seems my peeking and how I peek the opponent is off, so I would begin to look into that. So that's what you're basically trying to do. You're trying to identify an issue that you see in your gameplay. So, like right there, I did poor peeks, and focus on that for improving in future sessions. At a beginner level, these are usually easier to see and can be as simple as bad awareness, not right hand peeking, or even just missing shots when you need to hit them. As you evolve as a player, you may see more specific things. One peek could be throwing your game. You might be making the same mistake, like maybe letting someone side jump and hit you and not blocking that angle. That's something I've actually been making mistakes on in builds as of late. Or you may jump in without a HP advantage. You may not be good at fighting height, trying to retake height. Who knows? But the main part of this tip is to actively look for something you are consistently doing wrong before hitting the next step, which isn't possible without this predecessor. Now, this so-called next step, working on it in creative intentionally. At first, you're going to try to fix this issue in a stress-free environment, which is possible in creative. Here you can work on the problem as a solo using maps like the Raiders Mechanics Training V4 map, code is on the screen, which I personally use to practice. These are preferable for beginner mistakes and can help you work on mechanical concepts. As you can see here, aim, editing, and free building overall. If you just want to practice free building through tunnels, piece control peak training, or any of that. If you need to practice fighting other players, this is also possible. To find the best players in matchmaking, which may help you improve, I recommend playing Speed Realistics. These are usually better for fixing the more niche issues. Think the one bad peek I mentioned earlier, which you'll face at an intermediate level. I usually fight solid PC and console players here who will punish me if I make a mistake consistently. While in the process, make sure you are actively recalling what you need to work on. This is probably the most important thing. Be intentional with what you are working on and directly tie it to improving from the mistake you made. Be intentional. If I need to fix awareness, I'm going to actively be saying in my head, oh, I need to check all angles whenever I'm fighting this X player. I need to make sure, block the angles from him shooting me. I need to make sure I follow his footsteps, know where he is. Like, constantly think about awareness, hyper focus on that. It is a really good warm-up for ranked in tournaments, speed realistics and mechanics training before both, as how you can fight in the speed realistics, or the drills that you are practicing in the mechanics training before can be copied in these no-risk, stress-free situations. Finally, it's time for the sorta obvious and last step, and this is to play in game and focus on fixing the mistake you identified in the VOD reviews. Playing against real players in a battle royale setting is the best way to improve, as it creates the most realistic scenarios for getting better, and even like give some decent practice for tournaments. Not that they've fixed the loot pool back to being competitive again. Thank you, Epic. Thank you. While playing, actively think about what you are doing. Sometimes I'll literally calm to myself, like talk to myself when I'm doing, in order to refresh good habits and make sure I'm being intentional. That principle applies again. Make sure you are being intentional about what you are doing. Make sure you are focusing on improving one thing. The more you do this, the more natural the habit will become. Additionally, though this is a little harder, try to play stakes free. Trust me when I say this, rank is irrelevant to skill. You could be an Unreal player and you could be a bot, you could be a gold player, you could be Booga, and means literally nothing for how good your fighting is. Once you can get over the hump of worrying about performance and focusing on improvement, the road to getting better at fighting, here in specific, and overall even potentially game sense endgames, gets significantly easier as you play with purpose and grow more efficiently with intentionality. This is why you'll see players who have played for 500 hours played totally peeing on me, because they know how to do this process and push for improvement. Repeat this process for about 1 to 2 months and you'll significantly improve as a player. Might not even recognize who you are anymore. Many players just play the game, and when they die, will blame it on device or lag or dumb players or some random factor, just so they get it off their head. Once you detach from these dragging ideas which are out of your control, which shouldn't focus on them for that reason, and focus on mistakes that you're making as a player and how to fix them, it is once again exponentially easier to improve. Also, think about it this way. Many of who you're playing against in ranked and tourneys have the former lag is why me die mindset. The competitive edge will be in your favor, to say the least. Because I want you guys to get to grinding, I'll end the video here. Remember to apply this mentality. Record your deaths, stay intentional, and apply that intentionality, like apply the mistakes you made in your deaths in stress-free creative situations, speed realistics and mechanics training, and in game. And of course, don't fear the PC and console players, they're humans just like you. Ciao for now. Speedy video finished.